Hi, welcome to another video from Cardboard East. My name's Jay. I play board games from Asia and share what I find with all of you. Today we're going to take a look at my favorite trick-taking games from Asia. Now, those of you who don't follow me on TikTok or Instagram, what are you doing? Absolutely do that. But I've compiled my shorts that I did all throughout last month, counting down my favorite trick-taking games. So I've compiled it here into this long-form format to share with all of you. Yes, thank you. But before we get to the show, I just want to say that if you like what you see here and you want to see more, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and please consider joining our Patreon. On to the show! At number 20 is Tanuki Chagam, because I love tanukis. I have an illogical love of tanukis. But Tanuki Chagam is a must-follow trick-taking game where 2/3 of the deck are tanukis and 1/3 are pots. The highest card of the left suit is going to win the trick unless someone plays off-suit, in which case the highest off-suited card is going to win the trick. But the cute little trick in this game is that you could take the tanuki that you're going to play and hide them inside a pot of a previously played player. Why would you want to do that, you're asking? Because of stars. I'm not sure why they made the bidding tokens stars, but I do find it really cute and hilarious. At the beginning of each hand, you're gonna make a bid with the stars. And at the end of the hand, you're gonna get 1 point per trick that you win. If you make your bid, you get 2 extra points. And then every trick that you've gotten that's over your bid is gonna be worth a negative point. So you want to hit your bid exactly, which is exactly why we're hiding tanukis in teapots. But Tanuki is far from the greatest trick-taking game that I've ever played. And there are plenty of better ones, but I just have an illogical love of Tanukis. And there are many Tanuki games out there. I think if you go to BGG, I think they're like 6. Trick-taking, check. Tanuki, double check. So it's, of course, it's gonna be in the list. It's gonna be on the list. I said it was illogical. Number 19, Haifu. Say what you want about Haifu, but look at the art of this game. By far, some of the coolest art I've seen in all the card games that I played from Japan. I absolutely love the insanity of the artwork. But the gameplay, ooh, gameplay is so much fun. Ready? Must follow, and you gotta win 2 tricks. That's it, that's the game. You're gonna play this game over a series of rounds. If you're the first person to get 2 tricks, well then you put your little meeple here, and then, oh, look, you'll get 1 point at the end of the game. Second person to get 2 tricks, third, fourth. If you're the first person to get more tricks, you're gonna get more points. But be careful, because you can only get 2 tricks. If you get more than 2 tricks, your little meeple is gonna fall over and you're gonna get 0. Big 0 points. Getting your second trick towards the end is difficult. It's really, really hard. I like that dice roll feel of you're waiting, and then maybe on that last trick or 2, you get your second trick and you're jumping up and down because it's so exciting. You have those high highs and those low lows, and it makes the game memorable. The card art is just so cool and so rad that I can't help but love Haifu. Number 18 is Zoostock! Now, I already reviewed this game on my YouTube channel, so please check out that review. Zoostock is a game where everyone owns a zoo, but your zoos are quite small and you can only own 3 cages. So when you win a trick in this game, you're gonna collect all the cards from the trick and add them to your zoo. If you somehow have too many animals in your cages, they're gonna get moved to another player's zoo, and that could cause a cascade of animals to animals to animals to animals. If there are more animals that are pushed back to you after making all the way around the table, those animals go extinct. And once they become extinct, all those animals get more rare, and at the end of the hand, it becomes a scoring multiplier. So if there are 3 pandas that are extinct and there are 3 in your zoo, you just got yourself 9 points. Which does bring some ethicalness to the game, but we're not getting into that conversation because this game is fun. I know some people say that it's a game that is really difficult to control, and to them, I gotta say, they're partially right. But Zoostock also has red pandas, and red pandas are unbelievably cute. Do you know that they sleep on their tails? They bring their tail up and use it as a pillow. Adorbs! Number 17 is a cheat, but hey, it's my list, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. It is Robo Trick and Utsuke RoboTrick is a 3-player must-follow trick-taking game where the 4th player is a robot. Now, there are different types of robots, but they all follow the same thing. This is what they do when they can follow, this is what they do when they can't follow, and this is what they do when they're leading. But this makes it really interesting because that robot's hand is played face up, and then you're trying to make sure that you're scoring points when you want to, but you already know how one player is going to play, and you know what their entire hand is. Contrastly, in Utsuke, you are playing a trick-taking bidding game, but you're not bidding on how many tricks you're going to win. You're bidding on how many tricks the Emperor is going to win. If you get more tricks than the Emperor, he gives you the side eye, and if he gives you the other eye, he cuts your head off. So yeah, that's a thing. So they're both really good implementations of an automated player. Now, I do think that RoboTrick is the better game, but you can only play it at 3, whereas Utsuke, it's a much more looser game, and it has this weird suggested rule where you're supposed to clap, "Good job, Emperor, well done," every time the Emperor wins a trick. Now, I kind of force this rule, but it's not mandatory, but how could you not play with that rule? Yes, Emperor, well done. Well played, sir, well played. Now, you're probably thinking that all the games on this list are from Japan, and Japan does make a lot of trick-taking games every single year, but this one comes from Korea, and that is Jekyll vs. Hyde. Jekyll vs. Hyde is my second favorite 2-player trick-taking game. That's right, 2 players. That's right, you only play this game with 2 players. No more, no less, just you and Buddy. Now, while this is all the way at number 16, this is by far one of the most thematic trick-taking games I've ever played. Ever. There's a lot to love in Jekyll vs. Hyde. First of all, is the vintage Dutray art, which is utterly fantastic, but the gameplay is the most fascinating part about this game because it's a 2-player trick-taking game. If you're playing as Dr. Jekyll, you want to win as many tricks as you lose. You're trying to find that perfect balance in life and in this game. If you're Hyde, though, you want to make sure that that balance is way off. You want Jekyll to win all the tricks or Jekyll to lose all the tricks. And it's not too often where something like this happens, where a trick-taking game has excellent production, excellent art, and excellent theme integration with the mechanics. Definitely one of the best trick-taking games out there, and deserves to be on this list, probably, maybe, a little higher. Number 15, Viva Las Vegas. In Vivo, you are a pet owner taking your pet to this bet competition where they are singing in front of an audience. And the card art is hilarious. You have pets in the spotlight on the front of the cards, and then you have the spotlight on the back of the cards. Brilliant. What makes Vivo really interesting is that it's a must not follow trick-taking game where you can't follow the suit of all the cards played before you. Sometimes. I say some of the time because there are also song cards. There could be a quartet where you must play 4 different suits, 3 different suits, 2 different suits, or everything of one suit. And it's really interesting because there are 2 winners in each trick. One is the highest card played, one is the lowest card played. The highest card played takes a card in front of them face down, so it's going to be worth 2 points at the end of the game. The lowest numbered played gets to place their card face up in front of them for the value of the card. So you have this really interesting moment in the game where you're trying to score like 7 or 8 points by playing the lowest card possible. But all of these simple twists is what makes Vivo one of my favorite trick-taking games of all time. Viva Las Vegas! Number 14, Shut the Books! This game is designed by Taiki Shinzawa, and if you don't know who that is, he is probably one of the most prolific trick-taking game designers out of Japan. And by prolific, I mean the dude just makes so many games. But I think this one is one of his best designs ever. Shut the Books is a must-follow trick-taking game, but at the beginning of your hand, you're going to take cards from your hand and bid with them. Which is so wild because if one person bids 4 and when another person bids 3, well then this player is going to have more cards in their hand and maybe a little bit more flexibility, but this person is going to run out of cards faster, triggering the end of the hand. And when you make a bid, you're not saying the number of tricks that you're going to win. You're going to say that, well, you're going to win a trick that is either red or has a number 6. You're going to win another trick that's going to be blue or has a number 10. And it has this Knizia feeling of like, well, if I have a lot of purple, I should bid purple, but that means I'm going to be getting rid of a 1 purple card in my hand. Also, look at these cards. The UI of these cards are fantastic. I love how the corners are different. I love how the suits are different. I love how the backgrounds are different. I love games with player-controlled mechanics. So you get to decide how long the round is. And because you don't bid simultaneously, but you bid in order, then there's so many layers for you to consider in this game that makes each hand of Shut the Books truly fascinating. Number 13, Trick of the Rails. Now, this is one of the older versions of the game, and it's going to be really difficult to find. I recommend getting the South American version because this one is ooh, sexy. Now, I love stock games and I love trick-taking games, and this is a game that marries the two of them beautifully. Now here on the side of the box, it's going to tell you the certain order of tricks that you're going to be playing throughout the course of the game, be it 3 or even 5 players. Now this is a trick-taking game where the cards you play are either going to be shares of the company that you're building or the value of those stocks. So you're always asking yourself, like, well, what do I want in front of me? What do I want in the tableau? When do you want to win the trick? When do you not want to win the trick? There's just so much to think about in this game. But there are a lot of layers to this game. There is a lot of nuance, and I don't recommend this for people who are dipping their toe into trick taking for the first time. But it really does stock options and train games all in one, and you definitely get the feel of both of those experiences in this one game. Also, Trick of the Rails does something that's really, really cool. It's just one hand. That's it, just one. Not many games really have the gall to do that. Like you want to play multiple hands, kind of balance out luck. No. Trick of the Rails is like one, just one hand. That's it. And I gotta give it props for that. So Trick of the Rails, it's not gonna be one of the easiest games to find, but it's definitely worth the hunt. Number 12, Trick and Trade. Trick and Trade is a wild trick-taking game for like 2 main reasons. One, it's a may follow, and you don't get many of those. Someone plays a blue card, you can play whatever color you want. Number 2, it's just one hand. You get one shot to win this game. And if you look closely on the back, it says 30 minutes, which is wild because you think, is it like more than 1 minute per trick? It's like, yeah, more than 1 minute per trick. Another cool thing about this game is that once you win a trick, you can choose which of the 4 stocks that you're gonna invest in by drafting these investment cards. But what's even crazier is that you're also drafting who's gonna be the first player of the next trick. And that can be extremely painful towards the later half of the game. Because this is also a trick-taking game with teeth. Some stocks are going to be worth 3 points a pop, 2 points a pop, 1 point a pop, and -1 point a pop. And because there's a lot of open information in this game, you can see what players are investing in, and you could really sink your teeth into them. Because if you invest too much into a bad stock, then you're going to lose big. Sitting idly by as someone just tanks one of the stocks that you're investing in, it can be one of the most painful, beautifully painful things that you'll just keep on wanting to experience again and again and again. And Trick or Trade does this with just one hand. Number 11, Nikosu Dice. Now, if you haven't seen this one, this is the original printing. Yeah, that's a weird flex, but I'm gonna totally do it. So while this is one of the original printings, it's not the sexiest copy that you're gonna find. But Nikosu Dice is a game that a lot of people talk about because it's a game with dice. And your hand is gonna be half cards, which is hidden information, only you have access to that, and dice, which is open information that everyone can see. When you're playing into the trick, you can either play a card or one of the dice. However, this is a game with tiered trump, meaning that there's trump here, there's super trump, there's super trump, and you really need to be familiar with that kind of concept for you to really enjoy the game. But perhaps the coolest part of this game is that as you play cards and as you play dice into these tricks and you win these tricks, eventually you're gonna have 1 die left, and that is gonna be your bid. So you're gonna have to decide if you're gonna win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or maybe even 0 tricks for that round. And it can be brutal, but in one of the best of ways. Now, Nikosu Dice isn't easy to find. There are a lot of people who have even designed their own decks because they couldn't find a copy to buy. You definitely go online and check what those decks look like because I honestly think they look really, really rad. But as cool as Nikosu Dice is, it's only number 11 on this list, and there are 10 more that I love more. Number 10, Taquito Ice. Now, this is going to come as a big shock to a lot of people, but hear me out. Now, Taquito Ice is definitely the lightest game in the top 10, but I think it's my favorite intro trick-taking game. So let's just see everything it has going for it. Number 1, when you collect a trick, you don't have to stagger your tricks. It's so annoying when I see people getting tricks and they just stick it into a pile. I'm like, no, you have to count the tricks. You don't have to worry about that at all in this game because you're not collecting tricks, you're collecting ice cream. Number 2, super approachable theme. Ice cream. Number 3, it gets everything you want in a trick-taking game. You want to take tricks, meaning you want to get scoops of ice cream, but you want to avoid tricks because you don't want 4 scoops of ice cream because you get 0 points. Number 4, Number 4, the rules are incredibly simple. Must follow, highest card of the led suit wins the trick unless there are multiple suits played, in which case the lowest number, regardless of suit, wins the trick. Each trick you win gets you a scoop, and each scoop is worth 1 point. First person to get to 10 points wins the game. And some scoops that you do get will give you extra little toppings on top. And each of those toppings is also worth a point. Really simple, very straightforward, and mean. And the art is adorbs. Number 9. Joraku Deluxe. Now, there is a smaller version of this game, but I don't like the small one because the scoreboard, just every time I saw it, it just made my soul wrinkle and sigh, and I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. But this one, ooh, super sexy. Not only have you upgraded all the cubes to these cute little samurai meatballs that slowly march to Kyoto. I mean, that's what Joraku means, marching towards the capital. But your daimyo now are these cool warriors on horseback. Awesome. But Joraku feels like this classic game. Really clean mechanics, but a lot of depth in those choices that you make in the course of the game. Knowing when to put troops out, when to boot others, and when to push yours is so crucial in this game. And I love the balance of that. Earlier in the game, high card values are really important because they're going to score the most points. But in the later third of the game, lower valued cards are even more important because they're closer to Kyoto. And you can see this in the game as everyone's units are moving closer and closer and closer to Kyoto. Now, over the years, there have been quite a few trick-taking games that kind of deal with area control, but nobody does it as smoothly and cleanly as Joraku. Number 8 is Pompiers. A lot of people are talking about the Crew and the Lord of the Rings trick-taking games, and they're both great trick-taking games, but they're cooperative trick-taking games. If you want a mission-based trick-taking game that is competitive, Pompiers is the answer that you've been looking for. In Pompiers, you're all firemen on a mission. And depending on which mission that you're going for, you want to win certain tricks in a certain order. And it's so fascinating to play one hand and to see it unfold onto the table because you get to see which tricks people want and in what order, and it telegraphs what mission that they're going for. And there always comes a point midway through the game when you realize that someone else is going for the same mission that you are. No. You both can't be doing that, obviously, because you're not going to score the most amount of points, whereas Joe Schmo over here, no one's doing the missions that he selected, and he's just going to walk away with a hand. I really love that decision space. Also, I gotta say that I really love the old school style art here, and I really love having firefighters take the forefront on all these cards. I love trick-taking games that have a sense of humor to them, and Pompiers delivers that in spades. I strongly recommend you check out Pompiers because it's going to deliver time and time again. Coming in at number 7 is Trickerous. First off, I gotta say that the art in this game is just wild. I absolutely love this score track. And there's something about having a theme that's so straightforward. Every single time I've taught this game, people are like, oh, it's like Icarus and I don't want to fly too close to the sun. I'm like, perfect, you got it, excellent. But I really love how every time you score a trick, you move up on the score track and there are no ties, so you're always leapfrogging over your opponents. Meaning that you can win 1 or 2 tricks and then you're already at the front of the line, which is the danger zone of where you don't want to be. And Trickerous does everything that I kind of want in a trick-taking game. I want to win tricks, I want to avoid taking tricks, and the game gives you a lot of tools for you to win and to avoid tricks. You have the 5 cards, which allow you to switch the values of your cards, going from daytime to nighttime. And as a result of that, you can have Trump changing mid-trick. You have the Lightning Bolt card, which is an auto slough card, which can make someone fall from the sky. Right when someone's on that 9 space, right before the sun, there's this tension all around the table, and everyone is thinking the same thing. I want to feed that person a trick, or I don't want to trigger the end of the game just yet. And the closer the players get to the sun, the more and more that tension mounts. I made a whole video about Trickerous and several other trick-taking games. See you further on the countdown. Number 6 is Savage Bowl. Now, I'm often asking myself, do I like Haifu more? Do I like Savage Bowl more? And they're from the same publisher. Haifu is far more approachable, and the teach is pretty simple. Hey, win 2 tricks. Savage Bowl is a lot more layered, a lot more nuanced, has a lot more going on, and has that much savier, meatier taste. So instead of getting 2 tricks, you only want 3 tricks, and 3 tricks exactly. And what's really cool is that there are 2 endgame triggers here. You can play 5 rounds, or you can be the first player to get 10 points. You do get points equal to the round, so the game does ramp up. And I do have mixed feelings on that. Like maybe I did really great for hand 1 and hand 2, but you did spectacular on round 3 for some reason, and now you have more points than me, or the same amount of points as me. Whereas Joe Schmo comes in on the 5th round and gets 5 points for just winning that particular hand. Feel a little awkward there. But I do love that it gives this incentive for you to win your tricks earlier, because then you'll get even bonus points for having that, as well as being first in the next round. Also, where Haifu allows you to shed some cards at the beginning of the hand, this one lets you shed cards during the hand. I like that. Now, there is a lot to love about this game, and if you're looking for it, hey, good news, it got picked up and licensed and by a big publisher, and you're gonna know about it and hear about it in the next year or so. And it got picked up because Savage Roll is that good. Coming in at number 5 is one of the newest games on that list, and it's very, very divisive. The werewolves beat robbers horror. I love this game. But don't be fooled, this is a medium weight trick-taking game. Like if you don't know anything about trick-taking or basic trick-taking strategies, you're gonna struggle at this game. Also, you need people who are gonna really dive deep into the social deduction aspect of this game because it's good. So there are 2 teams in this game. There are the robber team trying to get treasure from the werewolves, and there's the werewolf team trying to eat the robbers. But you don't know who is who, and there are no role cards that define like this one player is this one role. No. Those are mixed up into the deck and are played throughout the game. So you have no idea how big your team is. You don't know. And every round you could be on someone else's team. Maybe round 1 you're the werewolf, round 2 you're the robber, round 3 you're the traitor. That's right, there's a traitor in this game. And trying to deduce who everyone else is part of the absolute delight. And you could have multiple role cards just happen to be given to you. And you could slowly play these, tricking people into thinking which role you actually are. Now, there might be other trick-taking games out there that do deduction, but they're not gonna be like this. Get it? It's a howling good time. Oh! Number 4 is Hamlin Cave. Jay, isn't that the same thing as Sail? No, not quite. Sail has you running away from a storm, like the giant nothing from Neverending Story. Hamlin Cave is Goonies, the prequel, where you're one-eyed Willie trying to get out of the cave before it collapses. Hot flash, you don't make it. Now, I will say that I think Sail is the better game, but I just like the aesthetic of Hamlin Cave. Sail also has, I don't know, a million different scenarios that you can create. However, setting up for each of those scenarios does take a few minutes. Whereas setting up for Hamlin Cave takes about all of 20 seconds. That being said though, this is the best cooperative 2-player trick-taking game out there. You need to move your ship out of the cave, you're fighting off ghost skeletons, trying to capture mermaids so you can get out of the cave faster, and not crash into rocks, because it's a thing in caves. But I love that in addition to the trick-taking, each card has its own little symbol, meaning that this one's used for fighting, this one's used for sailing, this one's used for the mermaids. Even though there is less variety in this than there is in Sail, I just prefer this theme a whole lot more, and the cards are a lot easier to read. Also, it has dead pirates and a pirate ship on the cover, and how can you not love that? Number 3, say it together, Schadenfreude. The game about stabbing your friend in the back with a smile. Schadenfreude is kind of like real life, where the game ends when you're over 40. That is to say, as soon as someone gets over 40 points, the game is over, they're eliminated, and the closest person to 40 wins the game. So this has a little bit of everything that you want in a trick-taking game. You want to win tricks, you want to avoid tricks, and most importantly, you get to be mean. You win points from winning tricks and taking the card you played and any off-suited cards and putting them in your tableau in front of you. At the end of the hand, those cards in your tableau will score you points. But you can be mean because you can feed points to another player. And because I'm often teaching this game, players often attack me, and one time at the end of the first round, I had 28 points. And unlike other trick-taking games where maybe if you don't win tricks and you're feeling bad, you can't really join in with the fun of the strategy of all the expert players, this one you can still enjoy in the Schadenfreude of seeing someone else be miserable by feeding them points or taking their points away from them. And perhaps that is the greatest strength, because everyone at the table is having fun. You might not be having a lot of points, but giving lots of points to Jay here and making him bust because it's funny is somehow really entertaining for a lot of people. No, I'm not bitter about this at all. And good news, everybody, this got picked up for an international release, so expect this on your table soon. Number 2 is a 2-way split, 4 Clans Conflict and Lone Wolves. This is by far my favorite two-player trick-taking game. Think of it as a lane battler, but with trick-taking. This has 4 suits and is a little streamlined. This has 5 suits and will melt your brain. Now, the time on this is 15 minutes, and you're only playing 15 tricks, and that's a minute per trick. And yeah, you're gonna need that whole minute to think about all the ramifications of what just happened because you played that card there. What I love most about these games is that you're deciding where you're winning and you're deciding where you're losing. I love in this game how the highest card in the game can lose to the lowest card in the game. And I really love the fact that no card feels safe. I love the fact that with a game this small, there are multiple strategies. You can go for winning all the castles, all the different lanes. You can go for losing all the castles and still win. I have lost games, even though I've won the majority of the castles, my opponent lost so much that they gained all the support and totally destroyed me. And it was in that moment of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory that I fell in love with this game, because it opened my mind to different strategies and different possibilities all in this one little tiny game. And I really thought long and hard about what my number 1 is. And it is Cat in the Box. Now, spoiler alert, I do work for a busy game, so I was thinking to myself, maybe I shouldn't mention this game, but I really, really adore playing this game, teaching this game, and it's been my favorite trick-taking game for a very long time, even before I joined the Busy A team. But overall, I love the big twist here is that all your cards are all of the suits and none of the suits. You get to decide when you're out of a suit, and I just find that simple twist absolutely wild. I also love area control and area majority, so the fact that this game really leans heavily into that, ooh-wee. You also have the Colossal Edition that has 2 more expansions on there, which are really fun. But the most exciting thing about the Cat in the Box universe is the fact that there's but you're gonna love it. I also have my own custom first player token, and yeah, I love him. And then I also mentioned that this game plays really well at 5, 4, 3, and at 2. Even though 2, it's a very, very different animal. I mean, it's still a cat, but the animal of the gameplay is very, very different. But that is my number 1 trick-taking game of Trick-taking and of all time. Woo! Thanks again for watching, everyone. Once again, my name is Jay. I play board games from Asia and share what I find with all of you. I'll see you in the next video.